For more than 2 decades, Kim Sok-bum risked repercussions from South Korean nationalists by writing a novel about a taboo subject that scarred the Korean peninsula 70 years ago. The 91-year-old Zainichi Korean writer, who was born in Osaka, is now in the spotlight in South Korea for his Kazanto Volcanic Island novel series, which highlights the Jeju massacre, or the Jeju 43 incident, on Jeju Island off the southern tip of the Korean peninsula. Kim said Kazanto helps to fill a void in South Korea's modern history. In September, Kim received the first Lee Ho-chul Tongilro Literature Prize, a unanimous choice among the 5 judges over nominees from India and Germany. The international award, organized by the Yeonpyeong district government, commemorates Lee, a South Korean novelist who wrote extensively about the division of South and North Korea and died in 2016. Kim's award came 2 years after a Korean-language edition of Kazanto was published in South Korea as a 12-vol series. The books have sold steadily, and the series has already been reprinted. Kim started the series in Japanese in a literature magazine in 1976 and completed it in 1997. The Jeju massacre was a purge of suspected communists and rebels who, on April 3, 1948, started a rebellion against the election for the South Korean administration. The United States and the United Nations pushed this election instead of seeking an independent and united Korea. Several tens of thousands of Jeju Island residents were believed killed by South Korean authorities during the years of crackdowns. The massacre had been taboo for many decades in South Korea. Kazanto centers on the repression of young islanders who revolted against the elections and the one-sided establishment of the South government. Although Kim's novel is fiction, it is based on real interviews with survivors who were visiting Japan, as well as Kim's first-hand research conducted on Jeju Island. Considering the length of the series, even Kim admitted that just looking at the amount of printed paper made him weary of checking the proofs of the Korean transcripts. But he says he was delightfully surprised when he heard that all 50 members of a book club organized by a South Korean scholar had read every volume of the 12-part series. It must have taken them a good 3 or 4 months at the least to finish it, Kim said. Kazanto has been described as the pinnacle of diaspora literature. However, Kim believes his book is literature of South Korea itself and South Korea, not just of diaspora. North Korea's threat is growing, and the day of unifying the Koreas may have become more distant, said Kim, who was born in 1925 to Korean parents from Jeju Island. But when North begins to democratize in the future, Kazanto would become literature of the entire Korea. Kim said that is because there is almost no literature in South Korea in the 3 years between its liberation from Japanese colonial rule in 1945 and the foundation of the Republic of Korea, South Korea, in 1948. Its modern history itself is not completely established, he said. I literally wrote history in the gap. He also explained that the Jeju massacre remains a difficult topic for South Koreans to write about because it is literature about the suffering of repressed revolutionists. Jeju Islanders who rose up in revolt against the separate elections by the South administration were revolutionary fighters, not mere rioters. But even the South Korea of today has not accepted that. In that sense, South Korea still does not have freedom of speech, Kim said. His claim seemed to be supported by how the South Korean media reported on the translated edition of Kazanto. They described the books as centering on the Jeju 43 incident but never used such terms as revolt or suppression. After the end of World War II, Kim chose neither South Korean nor North Korean citizenship in Japan. Instead, he has remained a Korean in Japan. Kim said he did not pick a citizenship because he has not given up hope for a unified Korean peninsula, and he has doubts about the process of the foundation of South Korea. In 2015, Kim was refused entry to South Korea. Earlier in the year, I said on Jeju Island that the Jeju massacre was caused by an invasion led by Syngman Rhee, the first South Korean president, and the United States, Kim said. I said that because the way the South administration steamrolled the independent elections while sacrificing the revolt was illegitimate. I understand this remark upset some conservatives there. Kim continues to write and be vocal about the incident at citizens groups meetings and other events, and he has demanded a reinvestigation to uncover the truth. It would have been impossible for me to write Kazanto if I were living in either South or North Korea. I would have been killed as an activist long ago. That I could produce the long-running series about my mother country because I was living outside it was an irony of fate. He added, the dead live on in the living. Inside myself, I am with many comrades whom I outlived. That gives me energy to continue writing. That is what writing history is all about. Kim is currently working on a series called Ami no Sokokara, from the bottom of the sea, in Japanese, about the aftermath of the Jeju massacre. It is being run in a monthly review magazine.